in-country partner of Canadian Universities Application Center, and we have colleagues, Ms. Linda Tay, Ms. Anasuya Bose, and Bindu Nair, who will give an introduction on the various systems of education in Canada and be able to take questions on specific universities which they represent. Over to Linda. Thank you.
Thank you, Ranveer. Thank you so much for having us here today. As Mr. Ranveer mentioned, I am Linda. I'm from the Canadian University Application Center, and joining me here today are Ms. Anasuya Bose and Ms. Bindu Nair. They're based in Delhi, and we're here to support the combined company to help students with applications to Canada. So I have a presentation today, of course, but I have to go through it pretty quickly because we do have limited time, and I want to allow time for all of you attendees to ask any questions that you might have as well. So the idea of this presentation is just to give you an overview of the programs and universities that we have available. It's a sampling of a wider variety of options that we do have. So if you have any programs in mind that we don't go over today, please do get in touch with the combined company, and they'll be able to connect you with a counselor and make sure that you do get the information that you need. Please stick around to the end so that we can answer your questions. We are all here to help and support you. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Oops, sorry, there's a bit of a lag. As Mr. Ranveer mentioned, we do work with over 20 university partners in Canada. They do cover largely undergraduate programs, but we also cover postgraduate programs. So if you're here today looking for a master's program, we might have some options for you. I do want to point out that the master's programs that we help with are either course-based or program-based. They are not going to be, sorry, there's a lag in the presentation. They are not going to be thesis-based because we can't assist with that. Basically, if you are looking for a thesis-based or research-based program, then you have to get connected with the university professors directly and work with them to be your supervisor. This does get a little bit more technical. So if this is the program that you are looking for, then again, get in contact with us and we'll be able to give you some general advice, but not actually be able to help you with the application process because of the complexity. Okay, so this is obviously a map of Canada. We are the second largest country in the world by landmass, but not the largest country as far as population. So we're always welcoming new immigrants, welcoming new international students, hoping that you get your education in Canada. And later on today, I'll talk a bit about what happens after you complete your degree if you do decide to stay in Canada long term. You may know already that Canada has a consistent high quality of education. So in all provinces and territories, you're going to find the highest level of education, the highest standard of education from pre-elementary, pre-kindergarten, all the way up through university level. Canada is a top spender on education, and we have one of the highest rates of post-secondary education amongst developed or OECD countries. When it comes to choosing a university, you'll have a wide range of selections, whether it's undergraduate or graduate universities. We have some large research-intensive universities as some of our partners. I'll talk about those, as well as smaller undergraduate campuses. But no matter where you decide to study, you know that professors are caring and supportive. You know that you're going to be working with cutting-edge technology and research and be helping to develop that as well. And a lot of our universities offer cooperative education or internship options, which are experiential learning opportunities that really help you take the next step into developing your career. Now, a lot of students ask, what can I do while I'm studying as far as work opportunities? I mentioned that our programs, a lot of them have field experience, they have co-op and internships, they have applied research projects, but you can also just work part-time. So you can work in a restaurant or at a store. According to the restrictions on your study limit, you are allowed to work the academic term. And then in the summer breaks, you're allowed to work full time. So there's no limit to how many hours you work in the academic term break, which can extend from May all the way through to August. Now, after you graduate, there is the opportunity to get a postgraduate work permit. In most cases, the program that you are studying, as long as you do at least a 16-month program. For undergraduate students, you're going to be doing at least 2 years, even if you're a transfer student, but probably 4 years if you're starting from year 1. So you'll get a 3-year postgraduate work permit, which allows you to stay in the country for those 3 years. You don't necessarily have to have employment during that time. You're still legally allowed to stay in the country. If you are employed and you work for at least 1 year full-time in a professional field, then you can apply for permanent residency. So regardless of the province that you're in, the federal program does allow you to pursue long-term stay in Canada if that's what you decide to do. Now, a lot of students ask us about rankings, so I do want to mention a bit about rankings in Canada. You might find that a lot of Canadian universities might not be, the rankings might not be so easy to find, and that's simply because Canada doesn't have a national ranking system. It's really different from the US or the UK or Australia. You'll find them on international ranking lists, but you do have to keep in mind that international rankings are done by private companies. So it's important to look into what kind of criteria they're using, what they're evaluating to bring up these rankings, and then think about what kind of criteria is actually important to you. So that might be things like job opportunities, what kind of relationship you can build with your professors, what kind of experiential learning opportunities you can get, what kind of student support is available on campus. To us as educational counselors and having seen, thousands of students and families come through, we know that these things are a lot more important than just a generic number that doesn't really give you a lot of information. I mentioned that a lot of our universities are public universities, and in Canada, public is equivalent to the highest quality of education that you can get are public institutions. So we'll be talking today about some of those partners. So you can be assured that the quality of education you'll get is going to be excellent. It's just a matter of finding which campus is going to be the best fit for you as far as programs that they have available and opportunities that you can get as an undergraduate or graduate level student. I'm going to talk briefly about requirements. Every university has slightly different requirements, so it's really important that you do work with a combined company and their counselors to make sure that you get all of those finer details. However, I will say that the undergraduate application is usually quite straightforward, especially if you compare it again to other countries like the US or the UK. For undergraduate, really the most important aspect are your grades. So we'll be looking at your class 10 through 12 transcripts and certificates. Really class 10 and class 12, because they're your board exam years, are going to be the most important. That doesn't mean you should wait until your class 12 is over. Absolutely not, because that can come quite later into the year. You should start your application process around this time of your grade 12 year. By this time, you should have predicted grades, maybe pre-board grades, maybe mock exam grades. Anything that you can show from grade 12 will be acceptable. Some universities will even take a strong class 10 certificate and a strong class 11. And then we just need a list of classes for grade 12. So again, it does vary from institution to institution, program to program, depending on how competitive they are. But just keeping in mind that it's really the grades that matter. Most of our universities don't require a letter of recommendation. We don't really require even a statement of purpose for undergraduate universities, really just your grades. And then if you are not doing CBSE or ICSE, then we do need as well an IELTS or a TOEFL or an other approved test of English. So again, get in touch depending on what your situation is so you can see what those requirements are. Some universities don't, like I said, you'll be exempt from IELTS if you're from the national board, CBSE or ICSE. but your study permit application may require an IELTS. So it is important to get in touch with one of the counselors to make sure that you do get those details. If you are looking for graduate, postgraduate studies, and master's program, then we require a little bit more from you. So university transcripts, sometimes these require an additional evaluation, which just assesses the equivalency between the degree that you did back home and the degree equivalency in Canada. So maybe you've done a 3-year program plus a master's, and we want to see what that is equivalent to by our Canadian standards. So you would submit that to World Education Services. Again, we can help you with that process. For master's, of course, you'll still need an IELTS or TOEFL or other test of English. You'll need a letter of intent or a statement of purpose. Depending on the program, they'll kind of guide you with what they're looking for as far as what you need to discuss in your written statement. You typically need reference letters, 2 or 3, depending on the program. They like to get academic reference letters, so from your professors. But if you've been working for a long time, then also professional reference letters are also acceptable, and we can use those. We also need a CV to know what kind of experience you have. So you see, for a master's program, we do need a lot more information. For undergraduate, it's really straightforward. So it's not something that you need to wait a long time or really put forth a lot of effort to do, kind of just a simple form and sending us your documents, and we can help you put everything together. So moving on to the process, our counselors and at Combined Company, they'll be able to help you choose a program and an institution. So depending, no matter where you are, as far as your own process and decision making, we'll be able to guide you towards that. So if you say, I'm interested in computers, but I don't know if I want to do computer science or computer engineering, we can help you figure out which courses you would take in each one and which one would be a better fit for you. Or maybe you say, I'm interested in business, but I'm not really sure which direction to go, or I just have no idea, but these are some of the classes that I like. We can help you choose that. So, so you don't have to have finalized decisions, but even if you do, we can obviously help you choose an institution that has the program that you're looking for. We're going to collect your documents, the ones that I mentioned in the previous slide. You're going to fill out a form. We actually have one form for all of our partner schools. So you just need to fill out one form, and we have a team actually in our Delhi office that puts together these application forms at all the different portals. You'll have to pay application fees. Each university has a different amount. It can range from $40 all the way up to almost $200 per institution. We'll lay all that out very clearly. Our organization doesn't collect any additional fees. So what you pay goes directly to the university. I mentioned that our team will set up the application fees. Depending on the university, the admission decision can take 2 to 5 weeks. This is for undergraduate. For graduate, it can take much longer. So you want to apply as early as possible. Some graduate programs wait until the deadline, and so you might not get a decision for 6 months or even longer. So you do have to exercise some patience if you're applying for a master's program, but undergraduate is a little bit more done on a rolling basis. Once you get your admission decision, then you can accept your offer, pay your tuition deposit so that you can apply for your study permit. We can help with that process, of course. And then we'll also help you with housing, registration, registering for courses, making sure that you have all the things required for pre-departure, like setting up your airport pickup, for example, at the university. All of those little kind of nitty-gritty details, we will get into that with you. I know that lots of students have questions about scholarship. I do want to mention that the minimum budget required for both undergraduate and graduate, again, the minimum, the bare minimum, is about 30,000 Canadian dollars per year. That includes your tuition and your living expenses. I'm sorry I didn't do the conversion, but I think one of my colleagues can jump in and add that later. That is the minimum that you need to study, and the minimum that you really need to provide for your study permit application, because if you can't pay your fees quite readily, and if you can't prove to the visa office that you can pay your fees, then you wouldn't be able to get a study permit. Our scholarships, we have two types of scholarships. They are guaranteed entrance scholarships, which are based on your grades. These can range from $500 a year to $7,000 per year. You can see that in Canada, we don't have half scholarships. We don't have full scholarships for sure. We have partial scholarships. I think overall, it is a better deal than, or a little bit more economical than maybe the US or the UK. But we know that it is a huge investment. It's not a small amount of money at all. So we do try to award students with academic achievement. But yeah, you can see the scholarships are somewhat limited. We do have higher competitive awards. So if you have good grades as well as leadership, volunteer experience, then you can get some more additional funding as an undergraduate student. Again, it is competitive. So you're competing against other students that are also applying for these awards. We can guide you towards those applications when you are applying for university. The competitive awards do have deadlines. Usually the deadline is the beginning of March. So it's good to get your admission in right about now or early January if you haven't already. For postgraduate or master's programs, there are some with competitive scholarships. They usually give them to the top applicants of the cohort. And these, again, are very limited. So it's $1,000 to $3,000 per year. Might help you a little bit with your living expenses or your books or your other expenses, but it's not going to put a huge dent in your overall tuition. So you do have to have much of it self-funded. I'm going to get into our programs now. I know I don't have a lot of time to do this. So again, I'll just keep mentioning that I am going to go through it fast, but I just want you to get an overview and then you can ask questions later or get more detailed information for your specific case later on. We get a lot of students that ask about professional programs, things related to medicine like dentistry, pharmacy. For us in Canada, all of the programs that are listed here are actually second degree programs. So if you want to study medicine or dentistry or pharmacy, you need to first complete a bachelor's degree. Technically, it can be in anything, but typically students choose science. So maybe they'll do a Bachelor of Science in biology or a Bachelor of Science in chemistry. And then once they complete that 4-year degree, then they can apply to medical school. There are some other steps like an entrance exam. It's also extremely competitive. So it's good to get some work experience, some volunteer experience to build your overall profile before you go on to apply for medical school. I do want to note a statistic that only about 3% of those who apply to medical school get admitted on their first try. So that just kind of gives you an idea of how extremely competitive it is. However, the field of medicine is huge and becoming a medical doctor is just a small portion of that. So if you are interested in science and research, anything related to medicine that isn't exactly being a doctor, you can typically do that with a bachelor's degree. And a lot of our universities offer this research experience as an undergraduate student. So you'll already be 1 or 2 steps into that career pathway just by being a student and working with your professor. If you want to study law, we have a lot of programs at the undergraduate level that teach you about the theory of law, about the justice system, about crime, law enforcement, things like that. But if you want to actually practice law as a lawyer, that is also an additional degree. We call it a Juris Doctor, equivalent to an LLM. So it's kind of a master's level program. You can study anything in your undergraduate degree. So if you study biology, you can go on to law school. You can study psychology and go on to law school. Engineering and go on to law school. There's really no limitation there. Law schools like to select students from a variety of different backgrounds. So it's all about presenting what you can bring to the table. There's also an entrance exam for law school. Architecture is a little bit different. Most architecture programs will require that you have 1 or 2 years of university experience before you enter into a bachelor's of architecture. So it's still at the bachelor's level, but they need some university credits, university experience before they'll accept you. Also super competitive. You do need to have a very high quality portfolio. Some of these things students don't have from the high school level. So it's So that's why most programs are limited in that way. Education and social work, they are bachelor's degrees, but they are second bachelor's degrees. So I think this is similar to maybe the Indian system where you do a BA first and then you do a Bachelor of Education. So maybe you can relate to that a bit, and it's the same thing for social work. So those are just some common programs that we get questions for, and I just want to point out that the systems are a little bit different in Canada than maybe other parts of the world that you're used to. I'm going to get in now to our partner universities and our programs. This is just a snapshot of a few of them, but we have a lot more. So let's start with St. Mary's University. St. Mary's is located in Halifax, Nova Scotia, which is the far east side of Canada. It's one of the Atlantic provinces. It borders the Atlantic Ocean. This map kind of shows that it looks like an island here, but it's not. It is connected to Canada by land. This is an English-speaking country, and it's actually the second warmest province in all of Canada. So if you are fearful of the winter, which honestly, you'll get used to it, but Halifax is really not so cold in the winter. We do get all 4 seasons. You will have some days of snow, but it's not going to be frigid like some of the northern territories or some of the northernmost parts of our provinces. I do want to focus on some highlights. Halifax is an extremely student-friendly city. It is full, the province itself has a lot of universities and colleges, probably the most concentrated in all of Canada. So you'll meet a lot of people who are also students or who are also young professionals. It's just a great place to take that initial step in your life in Canada, to be able to be surrounded by so many like-minded people. There's student discounts at stores. It's just a really great place to settle in. It's also a medium-sized city. I know compared to Indian standards, it's going to feel really small at 400,000 people in the city, but by Canadian standards, it is medium-sized. So that means you kind of get the best of both worlds. It's not an overwhelmingly large city where you would get lost. It's a place that you can navigate, and you can still get all the things, all the amenities that you would like in a big city without it being largely overwhelming. St. Mary's really focuses on cooperative learning, which are these paid internship placements. And they offer that in every faculty. So whether you're studying a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science or Environmental Studies, you'll be able to take part in paid internships. And you can do as many as 3 during your degree, which is equivalent to 1 whole year of work experience. That can be really good financially, but it's also amazing for your resume, because you'll graduate already with 3 different companies or work experiences, and also reference letters that you can collect just as an undergraduate student. St. Mary's is also one of the most internationalized campuses in all of Canada. So 30% of the students are international, and they come from 118 different countries. India is one of the top source countries for St. Mary's, whether Indians from India or Indians who grew up or studied in other parts of the world, you'll find a lot of international students on the St. Mary's campus. The undergraduate programs that are available at St. Mary's fall into one of these 5 categories. So the Bachelor of Arts, that can include things like geography, psychology, sociology, criminology, things like that. Liberal arts, social sciences, humanities. We have a lot of business programs. Actually, one of the top business schools in Canada is the Sobey School of Business at St. Mary's. Lots of different majors fall under that as well: accounting, finance, marketing, entrepreneurship, you name it. Science, of course, that covers biology, physics, mathematics, chemistry. Astrophysics is a really popular program, very well known at St. Mary's. Engineering as well, we have. Our program is a joint program with Dalhousie University. So you would do your initial years of engineering on the St. Mary's campus, and then about 10 minutes away at the engineering campus of Halifax, which is governed by Dalhousie University, to complete your degree. These are all 4-year degrees, by the way, which is the most common in Canada. And then we also have a School of Environmental Studies, which can be like the political side of environmental studies, as well as the science side of environmental studies. If you're here looking for a master's program, here are some of the options at St. Mary's. We have your standard Master of Business Administration, or MBA. Just like most MBAs, this requires some work experience. It requires a GMAT or GRE exam. You're going to find that's very common in Canada for MBA. For if you're interested in business, but you don't want to do an MBA or not qualified for it, we also have a Master of Technology, Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Sorry for some crowding on that slide. We also have a very popular Computing and Data Analytics program, International Master of Teaching English, a Master of Finance, and a Master of Applied Economics. Okay. Oh, my screen just froze a bit. So, all right, I'll just move on to our next university. This is the University of Northern British Columbia. It's clear on the other side of Canada. This is in British Columbia, as the name suggests. It's in a city called Prince George, which is about halfway up the province. A really beautiful, quintessentially Canadian city. You'll be surrounded by a lot of nature, but it's also a city where you can find, the big four accounting firms. You'll get a lot of work opportunities, whether it's an internship or whether you're starting your career. And the campus is really a central part of that community. Prince George actually gets nearly 300 days of sunshine a year. So even if you do experience winter weather, you'll also get a lot of sun. So it's not so gray and dreary. It is known as Canada's Green University, with its focus on sustainability and environmental programs. It is a research university, so it's really research focused. As an undergraduate student, you'll be able to conduct research and get published, which a lot of universities won't really allow you to do until you're a master's level student. So UNBC really puts that focus on undergrad, which is an amazing opportunity, no matter what your next step is going to be, but especially if it's going to be a master's or medical school, that experience will be really great for you. Undergrad programs there include arts. So as I mentioned before, this does include social sciences and humanities programs. We have commerce or business, science, applied science, which is engineering. UNBC has some great engineering programs, although they only have two options, which is environmental and civil, but both of those are really well regarded. And then there is also an option to do one of the engineering degrees as a double degree, where you would get a degree from UNBC as well as UBC, University of British Columbia in Vancouver, if you want to have kind of both experiences of Canadian university life. We also have a Bachelor of Health Sciences. So this does have a strong focus for if you want to go into medicine or anything related to health later on. Master's programs at UNBC include, again, the traditional MBA. The only difference about the MBA here is we don't require a GMAT, but we do require more work experience. So we need 5 years of work experience that is at a leadership, supervisory, or managerial position. And then you'd be exempt from the GMAT. The MBA can be done on the Prince George, the main campus. It can also be done in Vancouver, in case you want to kind of experience the bigger city life. We also have a very popular Master of Development Economics and a Master of Engineering, specifically focused on wood design, which is a great option for those who studied civil engineering or are interested in civil engineering or building in particular. Moving right along to the University of Lethbridge, which is located in the southern part of Alberta in the city of Lethbridge, pretty close to the US border. Some highlights of the University of Lethbridge. We have one of the most comprehensive digital audio arts major. This is for if you want to be working in obviously audio arts or sound engineering. Lethbridge has a really cool program there. They're also home to the Canadian Centre for Behavioral Neuroscience. So if you're interested in neuroscience, you can actually get an undergraduate degree in neuroscience. This is hard to find in a lot of universities because they tend to be master's level of study. But because Lethbridge actually houses this center, you can study as an undergraduate student and learn from amazing professionals that are in the field every day. And their business school, of course, is on the Lethbridge campus, but they also have a business campus in Calgary in case you want to study in Calgary. Again, a little bit of a larger city. I know that a lot of students sometimes look at Calgary because they might have family or friends there. You do have that option if you're interested in studying business. Undergrad programs at ULEF include the arts, business, science, health science, and fine arts. So a lot of what we had discussed before. They do have the first year of engineering, and then you can go on to years 2, 3, and 4 at the University of Alberta. So this does involve a move. Maybe if you had your eye on Alberta but didn't get in it right away, you can start your first year at Lethbridge. It counts towards your engineering degree at Alberta, so you'll still finish in 4 years. That is an option as well. So again, talk to us if that sounds like something you are interested in. Moving right along to the University of Saskatchewan, which is located in Saskatoon, in the province of Saskatchewan, right next to Alberta there. Saskatchewan is a world-renowned university for teaching and research. In Canada, we have something called the U15 group of research-intensive universities, where really their focus is on research, no matter the field. So that includes, of course, science, but it also includes business. It also includes arts. Just a lot of really world-renowned research that's happening there. I know if you search University of Saskatchewan and research that they've done into the virus, you can see that they're working on developing testing. They're working on like vaccine development. So just a lot of really pertinent things that are happening on that campus that you can take part in as an undergraduate student. It is a larger university of about 26,000 students. So compared to the other universities that we've discussed so far, this is a little bit larger. The students come from 110 different countries. We have over 130 academic programs. The great thing about Saskatchewan is, although they are a larger campus, they focus a lot on student support. So you'll feel the student support as if you're on a smaller campus, but you have the facilities and like research centers of a larger university. For University of Saskatchewan, we have undergraduate programs only. They do have some graduate programs, but they are thesis or research-based, so we don't assist with those. For undergraduate, we can help with any of these programs. They're divided a little bit more specifically, but things like agriculture, plants and animals, business and economics, life sciences and chemistry, environment and earth sciences, history, culture and arts, and then math, engineering, technology, and physics. So again, regardless of what you're looking for, you can probably find it at Saskatchewan. They're quite a comprehensive university. Moving along to Royal Roads University, which is located in Victoria on the west coast of Canada, actually the capital of British Columbia. Some highlights about Royal Roads: they have a strong focus on innovation. So you have the possibilities of a big university, but everything is on a smaller environment. They just have a really beautiful campus and a lot smaller class sizes. So you have that direct contact with professors, you have mentorship from your professors. This is a little bit more of a professional university. It's still a public university, but most students are joining for postgraduate programs here, although they do have some undergraduate. The city of Victoria, BC is just beautiful. You can look up pictures on Google, but you'll see that it's just a lovely coastal city. They have a strong focus on the environment, just being in the location that they're in, being on the coast. So studying, ocean diversity, things like that. And yeah, like I said, they're kind of a professional campus. They prepare you for real world career development. Some of the undergrad programs that we have at Royal Roads, I do want to mention that most of these are for transfer students, unless you need some sort of English, like ESL training beforehand. But they don't at the moment accept directly into year one. So again, if you want to transfer or if you want to start in an English program first, then we can help with an undergraduate program. Those include tourism management, justice studies, professional communication, business administration, environmental science. So kind of a wide variety. Our main focus at Royal Roads is going to be master's programs. Some of the popular ones that we help with: environment and management, global leadership, intercultural and international communication, tourism management, and global management. These are all options from really students from any kind of undergraduate degree background. And they are typically 2-year programs. So they'll make you eligible for the 3-year postgraduate work permit upon graduation. Lakehead University is another one of our very popular options. Lakehead is located in Thunder Bay, which is the northern part of Ontario. Sometimes we get students asking us about Ontario. Ontario is a massive, massive province. And so there's a lot of concentration in Southern Ontario of people, of universities and so on. But you'll get a lot of also excellent universities in the northern part and a pretty great pathway to permanent residency. So Northern Ontario actually has its own permanent residency program that is separate from the whole of Ontario. So if you're studying there and you're working there, then you'll have a pretty solid foundation for permanent residency. Lakehead is another top undergraduate research university. They've actually been ranked #1 for funding and for the quality of research that they produce. So if you're interested in anything related to research, then Lakehead can be a good option for you. They have small class sizes, even for being a pretty large university, but they focus a lot on experiential learning and preparation for your career. The undergrad programs that we assist with at Lakehead include arts, business and economics, human and social science, engineering, science, and fine arts. So again, another comprehensive campus. Master's programs that we also assist with include management or an MBA, and then lots of different engineering programs. So whether you're looking for environmental, computer or electrical, mechanical, civil or chemical, there are some course and project-based master's programs that we can assist with. Again, we cannot assist with thesis or research-based, so if that's what you're looking for, then we can only advise kind of more generally and not be able to help you with the actual application. Wilfrid Laurier, a university in Southern Ontario. I think this might be the last one of the list today, so we'll have some time for questions. They're located in Waterloo, Ontario. You've probably heard of the University of Waterloo. This is kind of a sister university to that. So Laurier doesn't offer engineering programs because Waterloo is quite well known for engineering, but they offer basically everything else and some really strong programs there as well. Wilfrid Laurier is consistently ranked #1 in student satisfaction. I talked in the beginning about rankings and how they can be a little bit misleading, maybe not give you the full picture. Student satisfaction surveys are given directly to students and alumni. And so they're kind of straight from the source of someone who has actually been through the program, and they're just ranked really high. Student satisfaction just means the relationship with the professors, how easily they were able to find a job after they graduate, and the jobs that they at a level that they liked and a job that they were satisfied in. So you can see that they have a really high employment rate. 98% of students secure employment or postgraduate studies within 6 months of graduation. That just goes to the quality of the experience that they're getting on campus. You'll also get a lot of real world experience with cooperative learning, again, those paid internships and experiential learning. We help with undergraduate programs at Laurier. These include arts, business and economics, human and social science. They have a really strong faculty of music, and they actually have one of the only bachelors in music therapy in all of Canada. So if you're interested in psychology and music, that's a really cool program that combines the two. They have science as well, and then international policy and governance in case you're interested in diplomacy or international politics, which is a really cool area of study. I'm actually going to stop right there. So as I mentioned, we have a lot of other programs. If you didn't see what you were looking for, then get in touch with us. Ranveer, I'm sorry, I didn't put a phone number on here, but I think you can share that in the chat. You can email either office@combinedco.com or I think info@combinedco.com is also another email address you can reach. And then the website is there. So again, just Combined Company being a direct partner of CUAC, any of the programs that we have, they will be able to assist in the application process for that.
Thank you so much, Linda. I think that was very much informative, and we've been getting queries in the chat and the Q&A. Perhaps we can take it in that order. Kripa Sri inquiring about IB requirements. Kripa Sri, if you want to perhaps come online, you can unmute yourself, give us a little background, and tell us when you wish to study in which subject. Hi, Kripa.
I think she's muted. Kripa, I think
muted.
Yeah,
she's not muting herself.
Okay, you know what? I can start answering the question
perhaps,
of what I think. Yeah. Right. And then if you have follow-up questions, Kripa, you can either unmute or leave it in the chat.
Right.
We absolutely accept students from the IB diploma program. Some universities will require that you have done the full diploma program, the 2 years to get the diploma. Some universities will actually accept the certificate program, but this is a little bit more rare. So if you have the opportunity to do IB, try to do the full diploma, which includes your 3 HL subjects and your 3 SL subjects. Different universities have different cutoffs, but I would say the average is somewhere around 28 points. When you are applying, we're going to take your transcript from high school and your predicted points, because I know your high school grades don't, your IB diploma doesn't come until much later in the summer. If you wait until that comes in, it's usually going to be too late to apply. So you want to aim for about 28. Now, a lot of universities, if you hit 30, will actually give you transfer credit. So 30 points on IB can be equivalent to an entire year of university credit. So we have had students come in with basically their first year courses done, and then they were able to move on and complete their degree in 3 or 3.5 years rather than the full 4 years. So it is equivalent to a like a pretty good scholarship in that case. And really you just get to skip classes at the university level. This is also the same, I want to mention as well, for A-levels, British A-levels. If you do the full A-levels or A2s, then you also can get transfer credit for those grades. And we don't necessarily need the full A-levels for admission, because in Canada, we go up to grade 12. That is equivalent to AS level. So most universities will accept you after 4 AS subjects. But if you decide to do your full A-levels, it is a good experience and you can get university credits for that. I hope that answers your question for IB. Oh, I do want to mention, sorry, another thing. Some universities also offer competitive scholarships specifically for IB students. So again, these are competitive. You do have to fill out a form and get a letter of recommendation, et cetera, but there is a particular bucket that is reserved for IB students. So some great opportunities if you are in that kind of program.
Great. We have Akshay Taylor, who's done BSc Computer Science with 7.3 GPA, inquiring about a master's. Let me see if I can get Akshay on the line. Akshay? Akshay, if you want to unmute, you can. Otherwise, we'll just take your question as it is.
Yeah, I think I can.
GPA requirements for masters in computer science.
Yeah, I am going to actually pass this question over to either Anu or Bindu, if you can answer as far as the GPA requirement, if that sounds like equivalent.
Yeah, GPA is fine, but I just wanted to check, whether it's a, 3-year degree he has done, because it's a BSc with computer science. Yeah, so getting into a master's can be a bit of an issue, because we have something into computing, which is specializing in data analytics, so which we can offer, but that would usually require a 4-year degree, like a 16 years of education. Mm-hmm. So if Akshay can clarify on that, because I guess BSc would be a 3-year degree for him.
Okay.
See, GPA is fine. Actually, the percentage required is great, but I think he might be missing, have a deficiency of a year, which could be required for a master's.
Yeah.
Are there any programs which offer, sorry to interrupt, any programs at all with it which can take 3 years, bachelor's degree?
You know what? I think it depends a lot on which program they're going into, but computer science usually is one of those that's just really firm on the 4-year. That doesn't mean that you're stuck though. So if you have If you have completed your degree already, what a lot of students do is they will transfer to Canada and do another bachelor's degree, which they can do in 2 years. So that will add on, it will end up being 17 years of education, but it will give you the experience of a Canadian bachelor's degree, which will make you more competitive. But it also kind of gets you used to the style of learning and teaching of a Canadian university. So that'll give you a lot more options when it comes to a master's program. There's also the option, some students might do a postgraduate diploma, again, of 2 years before going on to a master's. Gets a little bit tricky because they're not always going to be valid towards the master's program. I think if you're going to do 2 years of education anyway, it might make more sense to do that transfer into a bachelor's. But you know, it's case by case. It depends a lot. If you have some work experience, if you don't want to do another bachelor's, then, you know, talk to us to see what your options are if your overall goal is that master's degree.
Right.
Yeah.
So we take Tanvi Nagpal inquiring for Masters in Human Resources. Let me see if she wants to come online, Tanvi.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for taking my question.
Yes, please let us know your profile.
Actually,
and...
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I am an experienced HR professional working in India since 3 years. But I want to, you know, pursue my MBA in somewhat in HR as my specialization in Canada. So can you suggest any options? And I don't want to give GRE or GMAT because I don't have time for that. Although I have given IELTS.
Okay. So an MBA, regardless of the specialization that you're going in, is going to be typically comprehensive. So it's going to cover all the aspects of business, and then you might have some where you can choose a specialization, which is more like a major. You're still having to cover all of the subjects. And that GMAT is pretty much a standard requirement for MBA. However, there are some Masters of Human Resources Management, just a straight Masters of HR, which you can go into, and that might be a little bit more suitable for you because you know that that's the specialization that you want to seek. That doesn't typically require a GMAT. The one I'm thinking of is at the University of Regina, which is in Saskatchewan. You just need an undergraduate degree, but they do require a WES evaluation, which is that World Education Services evaluation.
I have done that.
Oh, you have? Okay. Did you do the the course by course one?
Yes. I have a bachelor's degree of 3 years and a PG diploma of 1 year because I did MBA on a weekend basis.
Okay. So that is 4 years of postgraduate education. So there is a good, that sounds like a, you know, enough for admission to that. But yeah, get in touch with us. So University of Regina is the one that comes to mind. If you want to do something like global management, then we have Royal Roads, which offers that, again, a little bit more broad, depending on what you want to do, whether you want to really specialize or whether you want to kind of keep your professional options open.
Okay. And what about some PGD courses, like post-graduation diploma courses? Can I go for that also?
You can. I'm just thinking from a visa point of view, since you already have a master's, it might make more sense to the visa office if you go on to a master's rather than a PGD.
So I should go for a master's?
Just based on the limited information that I have, that's going to be my initial assessment. But we would probably need, you know, a little bit more time to discuss with you individually to
okay,
talk about the options.
Thank you so much, Linda.
Yeah,
thank you.
Definitely get in touch with the team and Combined Company. And
yes, you just send your profile, Tanvi. That would be useful. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have Sneha, who's done BE Electrical, 2014, 5 years experience, 27 years, IELTS 6.5, keen for masters in big data or data analytics.
Okay, great. So we do have that Master of Science in Computing and data analytics. It's an extremely popular program. So it does get filled up fast, but it has nearly 100% job placement. Actually, it is 100% thus far since the existence of the program. You do have to have programming skills though, because it is a computer science program. If you have that, the initial step is to do a programming test, which we can send to you. If you pass that, then you would be invited to apply. And your application is just based on your academic background, again, your CV, your letters of recommendation. It is a bit of a competitive program because of the volume of applications that it gets, but it's also a great investment because your chances of getting work are so high. The university partners, this is at St. Mary's, by the way, the university partners direct with IBM and Dell, as well as the tech startups of Halifax. So you'll have a lot of great opportunities there. So yeah, that for, I guess my answer to that is if you have programming experience, then we can go ahead and move forward. Yeah.
Would you like to clarify, Sneha?
Yes, like I have done BEEE. So will there be any disturbance in getting in data science? But I have experience as a software engineer for 5 years in testing. So will it be all right? Is it easy, or should I write some other test also to get it? As she was mentioning, it was not very clear.
Oh yeah, the program itself has a programming test. Okay. So you'll have to do some coding, like some actual programming. Do you have experience in that?
Okay. Okay, then this gap, 6 years gap is there. 2014, I completed my BEEE. Then after that, I was working. So there is a gap of 6 years, 6.5 years. So will that be, will there be any problem in getting the admission?
No, we don't really consider that a gap because you are actually working. So to us, this is not a gap. You're actually doing something that is applicable towards your degree and towards your visa. So it's actually a good thing. We usually, for master's programs, suggest that people have some work experience. So that's fine. It's just a matter of whether you have programming skills to do this data analytics.
Okay. So for May intake, the colleges will be open for admission?
We don't really have May intake for postgraduate. You would be looking at September. And this particular program is probably going to close early February because it's going to be full already. So if you're ready to at least start your application, then get in touch with the team at Combined Company and let's get your documents ready to go.
Okay, what is the difference between the PG diploma or the master's? Like, what do you suggest should we do?
Okay, so very generally, diplomas, whether they're PG or regular diploma, is more applied learning. So it's going to be more industry-based. You're doing a lot more hands-on. And then master's programs tend to be a combination of that, but with theory still. So it's a little bit more academic. Master's programs are a bit more academic. It is, I'm not going to say one is better than the other. It really depends on what is your career goal or what gaps you're looking to fill in your career. If you're just looking for some specific skills that are going to help open, certain doors in the industry for you, then maybe a PGD is better for you. If you're looking for a higher academic level, maybe to enter, I don't know, a managerial position in your company, or maybe there are certain jobs that require a master's, then a master's might make sense. There's a little bit more theory in that. So it's hard for me to answer without knowing your full profile, but what I would suggest, Neha, is if you get in contact, again, with the Combined Company with your documentation, specifically your CV, we can start with that, and then we can send you a list of programs that are available. You would be looking at September intake, September 2021 at the earliest.
Okay. Okay.
Just wanted to add, Sneha, one thing more. Like, you haven't mentioned the percentage. What's your percentage?
83.4.
Okay, great. So that shouldn't be a problem. And another issue would be, because the seats really get filled fast. So if you're planning ready for the September 2021, you should apply and contact, Combine immediately, because we'll have to start with the programming test immediately. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Neha.
Thank you. So we have Saravanan inquiring about cutoffs for State Board for Computer and Data Science. Saravanan, you didn't mention whether it's Masters or Bachelors. If you could clarify. You have mentioned Bachelors in your inquiry form.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm doing my 11th standard in State Board Economics. So I'm willing to go for college abroad. So undergraduate. So what must be my cutoff for that? If I'm going to do data science and computer science or computer science.
I'll pass this to you, Anu.
Yeah. How much are you maintaining still now in your 10?
It's about 80%, 80 to 80% I got in 10.
Yeah, usually we look for a 70 plus, even if it's a state board. The only thing is, you might have to take a IELTS for sure, because that would be required by the university only. Because as Linda had mentioned earlier, if it's a CBSC or IB board, then you don't need to have an IELTS as far as the admission is concerned. But in your case, it would be mandatory. But if you're maintaining an 80 plus, you should be able to get through very easily. It shouldn't be a problem at all.
Oh, okay, fine. Thank you. So what about the English test do I need to take?
It's either IELTS or TOEFL, because that's accepted by the visa office also. So best to take that. Universities currently are accepting Duolingo also, but that's not accepted for the visa. So that's why we would suggest you to take either IELTS or TOEFL.
I'm preparing for ISLTC, so it will be greater for IELTS.
IELTS is better. Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sravana. We have Hemant Nagpal inquiring for postgraduate finance courses, and perhaps I can get Hemant online.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Hemant.
Yeah, am I audible to you?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a gist about my profile. I have done my graduation and my post-graduation in finance, and I've been working from the past 3 years in the banking sector now. So I was planning to, pursue a 2-year PG diploma from Canada, as you are aware that the express entry cutoffs are going high by the day. So I thought maybe I should pursue a PGDM course. So maybe you can put some light on that. Like, what can I pursue? Because I cannot find anything beyond financial planning. I believe that is a course which is like most famous in that country. And I'm not interested in that financial planning part. So maybe you can put some light on that. Hello.
Could you just indicate, Hemant, your background again? You've done a bachelor's in?
I have done a bachelor's in BCom honors, and I've also pursued my master's in finance.
Okay.
So, but I'm planning to pursue a PGDM in finance from Canada, but I have not come across anything else beyond financial planning PGDM.
Okay.
So maybe if you can throw some light on that, if there are any more courses available apart from PGDM, apart from financial planning.
Hemant, do you have a 4-year bachelor's or a 3-year bachelor's?
It's a 3-year bachelor's, and my West is done. So my 3 years bachelor's is equivalent to a 3-year bachelor only, and my master's is equivalent to a 4-year bachelor's. So
okay.
I have like
do you have
2 more
studies beyond that?
Linda, your voice is breaking. I mean, I can hear everyone else, but your voice is breaking.
Anusuya, do you want to take that? I think she may be having connection issues.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a 3-year program, you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, we do have a Masters of Finance program also, which is core into Masters, into finance only. So that is available at St. Mary's University. So, but that's not a diploma, that's a master's degree for a year. So like, are you specifically looking into a postgraduate diploma? Hello?
Hemant?
Yeah.
Yeah, so are you like open for a master's, or are you specifically looking into a postgraduate diploma only?
I am looking for a PGDM only because I have some budget constraints as well. So a master's will cost me much more than PGDM, and I'm already experienced. So that's why I'm targeting a PGDM.
But as you said, as you rightly said, most of the colleges there will have something into financial, I mean the courses which specifically you was just mentioned, so financial analysis. So basically the master's courses will have more different options available actually. Like, core into finance, which will include into banking, accounting, more options in that. So so even like if you're looking for something specifically into accounting or any other kind of specialization, those options would be more available in a master's. But as you rightly said, yes, it's going to be slightly expensive. So we really don't have any kind of a postgraduate, diploma program in finance as of now.
Okay.
We have a master's available. Yeah, master's is available.
Okay, surely I'll connect with you people
Yeah,
on
you
the
can
master's
just send
part.
your profile. What we can do is we can send you the courses available with us. You can have a look and see the budget and then accordingly decide where you want to opt to.
Surely, right? That can be done. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hemant.
Thank you. Yes.
We have Harika interested for MBA. She indicated she's done distance education. Harika, if you can come online.
Yeah. Harika, can you hear us?
Yeah. Hey, good evening, guys.
Hi, good evening.
Sorry, actually, the thing is, I have an experience with a statistic analyzer.
Okay.
Experience with 9 years. But the thing is, I have completed my distance course in a Bachelors of Arts by 2017.
Okay.
Now I'm interested to join for MBA. But I'm not sure, like, am I capable to manage it or not? So I need some guidances.
See, distance education is from where you mentioned? From which place have you studied?
Karnataka, India.
Karnataka. So, I mean, the distance education which you mentioned, is it recognized? Like, is it recognized by some university?
Yes.
Affiliated one, yeah. So, it's not a problem. Canada is quite open on that. We do accept, distance studies also, provided they are recognized. So, in your case also, it won't be a problem. The education would be considered. The only thing is, MBA, most of the universities do need you to have a GMAT or a GRE. So if you can have that, then of course you would be eligible. So the studies won't be an issue, if you've studied in the distance.
Okay, then what about the PGD, like post-graduation and all?
Diploma, you mean to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, diplomas also, most of the colleges do accept actually. So distance studies, as I told you, as far as it's recognized by some university or some institute, it's not a problem. You can apply.
Okay. So how much it would be I want to know about the budget plans, ma'am, actually.
Budget actually depends. It's not we really can't generalize because there would be a lot of difference if you're talking about university or if you're talking about certificate programs or a diploma program in a college. So usually on an average, MBAs, of course, if you're really talking about MBAs, that would be little expensive, in Canadian dollars, if we talk about somewhere around 44 to 45,000 Canadian dollars. Like it will range, some will have 40 to 45, between that range.
Okay.
Diplomas depends, which college you are going, because that might also range somewhere around 30,000 Canadian dollars. Like if you include everything, living and tuition fee. So somewhere around 16, 17 lakhs, maybe if you're talking about diplomas.
Oh, fine, ma'am. What about the MS? Like which MS I can join over there in Canada?
You've just done a BA, right?
Yeah, Bachelor of Arts.
Yeah, see, ideally MS programs, because they are more on a research-based side, so it will really depend because we'll really have to have a look at your overall profile to see whether you will be, eligible for that or not.
Okay.
So because if you, but you still have to take a GMAT or GRE because sometimes just a BA degree might not help. So, if you have really a GMAT or a GRE, that gives more weightage to your application.
Sure, ma'am. I'm ready to take that.
Yeah, specifically if you're wanting to go for an MS program, because that's more on a research side. So that requires a little higher, requirements are there.
Yeah, thank you. Then I'll go with that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harika. We have Jyotsna Panda, who's put it in the chat. BTech, 11 years experience, keen for management. Taken IELTS 8. Is she eligible for any management programs?
Like an MBA, is it, Jyotsna?
Jyotsna, if you want to come online. Okay, maybe she's not able to unmute. Maybe you can just give a little brief as to what options are available. Yes, go ahead.
I'm audible?
Yes.
Thank you, Combine. It's great. Okay, my question is, as I mentioned in chat box, that I have completed my BTech in 2009 in Bachelor of Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering. Okay, and after that, I started my career in IT company. Now I'm a project manager in a Ford Motor company. Okay, so it's near about 11 years of gap. So I'm planning right now for the master in global management or MIM. It's kind of the Canadian University. I already went through a lot of research, all the university. I'm preferring for RRU. And my next preference is SMU. So this is the 2 university I'm preferring. So, and I have given my IELTS and WES also done. WES also done, and IELTS general I have given. So is that university accept the IELTS general? If it is not, then I can go for the Duolingo, no issues. If the May intake or September 2021 intake, if the university is asking for the Duolingo, then that also I will go for that. There is no problem. If it not, then I can go for the IELTS academic as well. Since my general IELTS is 8 band, so I'm thinking again going for the academic again I have to prepare some more time. So I don't have much time. That's the reason I'm just wanted to clarify. Can you give me a suggestions what?
Yeah, I can answer that. Okay. So yeah, it sounds like you're already well on your way. Sorry for the background noise. It sounds like you're already well on your way with your WES evaluation. And yes, typically universities do require IELTS academic, so they won't be able to accept your IELTS general. However, your IELTS general can be used for the study permit application. So what I would recommend to do for your English proficiency part is to do the Duolingo, especially because of this window that they are allowing it. It's a lot less expensive. It's not going to require so much preparation time. It only takes, I think, 1 or 2 hours from your home. So at least you could get that for the English proficiency part of your admission. As far as program choices, MIM is not so common in Canada, but it sounds like you already did your research and found that global management program, which sounds like it could be suitable for you. You can, of course, also do an MBA, but that's going to require a GMAT exam. But St. Mary's also has something called a Master of Technology, Entrepreneurship, and Innovation, which is a business program that is geared towards somebody like you who comes from a tech, science, or engineering background. It is a bit more, as the name suggests, on the side of innovation, on the side of entrepreneurship, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to start your business straight from completing this degree. It gives you the business skills if you were to start up a company, how to get capital, how to build up the departments of your company, things like that. And you'll get a lot of actual experience. So that MTEI program, you have a few different options. You can do an internship. You can actually work with a team to set up your company, and Halifax is a great place for entrepreneurship in general, but especially tech entrepreneurship. Or you can work in a startup to kind of get an idea of what that process is like. So that might be a good second option. I know you said you were already looking at St. Mary's, but I would suggest maybe to look at both the MBA and the MTEI, and then that global management program at RRU seems like a good option. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, I'll get in touch with you guys, and I'll go into detail more. Yeah,
just email us your CV.
Definitely very soon. I know that RRU program, that global management program, is a really popular one. It gets filled fast. I believe the May one is already full, so you'd be looking at September, and you'll just want to get your documents in as soon as possible. Like I said, it's already good that you did your WES, so you basically have everything already. It's just a matter of submitting it and getting it started.
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I think we've taken most of the questions. I think there was just another question with regard to the, not necessarily a gap, but if someone has last studied more than 5 years ago, is that acceptable?
For an undergraduate?
For an undergraduate.
It's acceptable by the university is not a problem.
Okay.
But visa, sometimes visa can be an issue. Yeah.
Okay. So one should have to take that into account accordingly.
Yes.
If it's professional work experience also?
That does help. But as I told you, totally depends on the visa officer. So we do sometimes see, they do get rejected. So it's, but obviously, as far as the university is concerned, it's open.
It's
so
all
they
right.
are eligible. Yeah.
Right. And does it make a difference if you're applying to a college rather than a university? The more competitive universities would have a better success rate.
Of course. Universities anyways have a better success rate.
Right. Let me just mute him. Okay. Right. I think you've taken some of the other questions. Or what a question was, what courses are open for May? If you can just give a little brief summary of any undergraduate and possible postgraduate courses in May, and what is the application deadlines, and similarly for September.
Okay. I'll just say that most universities for their undergraduate program, they have the September through December term, and then they have the January through April term. They do offer classes in May. I don't think it's the best time to start. However, since this is kind of an unusual year, it might be okay to start in May because it's kind of like a shorter term. Basically, the classes that are normally taught in 4 months in the regular term, they're condensed into 2 months for May. So you're meeting more frequently, you have more fast-paced like assignments and quizzes and stuff like that. Most students don't take a full load in May. They might only take 2 or 3 classes as opposed to 5 classes. Many of our universities do offer a May term. I would say probably St. Mary's would be a good option for May term because they have most of the faculties have classes still in May, and you can find some first year classes in May. Other universities might only have upper level classes in May, kind of for those that want to catch up a little bit later on. But again, that fast pace might not be the best for a first year student to start. It's fine for if maybe you meant to start in September, but you were delaying because of the pandemic and so on. So there is a bit more flexibility this year. So I would say undergraduate programs in any of the areas, we can look at May term for that. We don't know whether classes are going to be online or in person. If they're online, then you don't have the pressure of having to secure a study permit before starting. You can start at home and then work on that at your leisure, a little bit more at your leisure. But if they are going to be in person, then you probably want to start your application as soon as possible. Everyone's going on break until the new year, but you'll want to submit your application pretty much the beginning of January to make sure that you have enough time to get your documentation for the study, for the admission, and then for the study permit application by May, for the May term.
For the May term, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I didn't answer your question for graduate. Most graduate programs, most master's programs have a September only intake. And then a few select programs might have September and January, and then very, very few have May. So you most likely, if you're looking at postgraduate, you'd be looking at September.
And typically for the at least the popular competitive universities, we should apply typically by March in terms of the deadlines for September?
For graduate?
Undergraduate and undergrad?
Oh, yeah. Yes. So I would say maybe March is a good deadline to set for yourself. Some have pretty firm deadlines, some have moving deadlines, and then some don't actually have deadlines. They just do rolling admissions. But, you know, to give yourself as many options as possible, it's better just to apply early. Really, if you are in grade 12 now and you have any results from grade 12, again, either pre-board, mock exam results, first term results, whatever your school provides, predicted results, we can take that and do your admission now. So there's really no reason to wait, especially for students that are doing exams early next year. You don't want to wait and have to do your applications plus study for your exams. It's just a lot on your plate. So maybe if you have a little break now, then kind of get it out of the way, and then you don't have to stress about it later on.
Right. And you mentioned the universities may not require essays or statement of purpose for undergraduate admissions?
Most do not. Most do not require, yeah.
Okay, all right. So it's your standard academics and references which are sent in confidence directly by the registrar.
Not even references. It's very rare for a reference to be required, maybe for some competitive scholarships, but really we just need your grade 10 certificate, your grade 12 predicted results, and then test of English proficiency. That's it.
Even for the competitive ones, are they?
For the more competitive ones, there might be like additional, yes, the additional references and so on, but it's really quite rare. Like I would, not so many that we come across that require it.
Right. We have Akshay, who's keen on machine language and data science after BSc Computer Science. Akshay, if you want to come online, we have a few minutes left.
So, okay.
Okay, he's not coming online. He's done a BSc in computer science, keen for machine language, data science related courses.
So I would say that would probably fit again with the Master of Science in Computing and Data Analytics at St. Mary's University.
St. Mary's, right.
Yeah, so we would need to send you a programming test if you're ready to get started. And if you're looking at September, then you probably should get started because that program is going to fill up very soon.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we have taken most of the other questions. This is some repetition.
Sure.
If there's any closing comments, Linda or Anusia, in terms of anything which students need to be aware of, which we have not covered. I think visas are being taken in most centers in India. Students have started remotely. Obviously, the situation is being monitored, and hopefully next year, 12 months out, would be very different intake. I think as long as the Canadian IRCC is taking and the High Commission is taking visa applications, that's fine. Students should get confidence in that. Is there anything further you've heard from universities otherwise?
No, like you said, they're monitoring the situation, kind of waiting for, the provincial body to make decisions, the federal body to make decisions. A lot of universities are welcoming students back in January, but they're still going to be doing online classes. So we hope that we make it through this winter kind of spike in cases. There are some parts of Canada that are extremely safe, where St. Mary's is located in Halifax. It's actually the safest jurisdiction in all of the world. They've really kind of created a bubble, and the cases are really, really low. It's not the case everywhere, but it's really just dependent on the world situation and how much travel can be done. But a lot of students are doing well in the online environment. It's temporary. It's not the #1 best solution, but at least you're able to still, get started on your degree. So we do hope you take those steps. If you've decided to apply and for some reason you decide you don't want to do online classes or you want to wait to pass for the pandemic or whatever to pass, many universities offer free deferrals. You can just defer into the next term when you're ready. So there's no commitment just by applying. But if you're at least thinking about it, then really do get that application in so we can get started on that. The last thing I wanted to say is you can see from the questions that a lot of people have sort of individual cases. The best thing is really to sit down with the counselors at Combine. It might be a 30-minute meeting for us to really get out, you know, what is suitable for you, what your experience is. So it is kind of, it very much is a guided approach that involves a lot of details and things. And we want to make sure that you get all the information that you need, not just sort of the general. The idea of this session was to give you the general information, but everything is case by case. So do reach out and get in touch with next steps.
Okay, great. Thank you for taking the time, Linda, Bindu, and Anusuya. It's been very informative. A lot of questions which we have received separately, but as I mentioned, we just need to just go through them with some repetition, and we'll get the series and then be in touch with your office in Delhi.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much.
Right.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Ranvi. Thank you. Thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.